Hello, everyone, and welcome to Webinar Wednesdays.
Hey guys.
And we are actually on our fourth and final webinar of Webinar Wednesdays. We will be doing webinars in the future, but this is our last one for now that we'll be doing every week, because next week Haley and I are headed to Las Vegas to gamble all of our money away. No, we're actually going for a. Could you just mute your mic real quick? Thank you. We're actually going for a business conference. We'll be getting lots of training on how to build an online business. So that's what will be next week. But today we are going to talk about the fear of rejection and how to overcome that fear. So first of all, though, just let me know if you can hear us and everything sounds okay. Just type in the chat. We were having some technical difficulties earlier, but I think we are good to go now. So we'll go ahead and dive right in. All right. So what you will learn in this webinar, you will learn how no goals can help you. So I'm not saying to not have any goals, not the lack of goals, but goals for no, how they can help you, what those are, and how they can help you. And you'll also learn how to overcome a fear of failure. So many of us have a fear of failure, and that holds us back, but we'll be learning how to overcome that fear and how to overcome the fear of rejection. This is especially prevalent in network marketing, as you know, you're out there prospecting and recruiting, and you're going to get a lot of people tell you no, and some people are going to do it in a hostile manner. And so we're going to learn how to overcome that fear of rejection. And the results, I think, of overcoming these two fears will be that you can become a recruiting machine. Nothing can stop you. So that is what we'll be talking about in this webinar. But first, just let me know what you are hoping to get out of this webinar. Just type that in the chat, so that helps us as we go forward and do future webinars to know what to cover in those. And a little bit about us, if you don't know who we are Reagan and Haley Ram, and we've been married almost 8 weeks now, so long time. We're pros at this now, and we just get people coming to us asking us for marriage advice all the time. So if you have any, just ask away in the chat. And we work together to help other families live intentionally and cultivate their own family enterprises. And a family enterprise is simply anything that a family works together in pursuit of, a goal that a family works together in pursuit of. So that could be, well, the main thing that we believe in is a family should work together to pursue God's kingdom and advance God's kingdom on earth. But there are definitely other enterprises that a family can pursue together. And one of those is family home business. And that's what we'll be talking about in this webinar today. And another piece of trivia, we have a baby on the way now.
Yay!
And we are excited, in case you couldn't tell. All right. And Haley will be handling the chat as we go. And there will be a Q&A at the end if you have any questions. So now let's get to the content. So 3 steps to overcoming a fear of rejection and becoming a recruiting machine. So feel free to cheer in the comments in the chat while I take a drink. I heard a speaker. I was on a webinar one time, and the presenter said that she was going to be taking drinks of water throughout the presentation so that she would not get dehydrated. And I was thinking, wow, like, you can get dehydrated that fast? That's not why I'm drinking. I'm just drinking because talking makes my mouth dry, and that does not promote good presenting. So moving on. So the roadmap for conquering the fear of rejection. Here it is. So step 1 is to embrace failure. So that might not sound so nice, having to embrace failure. It's not comfortable, but that can become a comfortable thing. And we're going to talk about how to do that, how to embrace failure. And the second step to conquering the fear of rejection is to go for no, and we'll be explaining that as well. And a third step is to understand that quantity trumps quality. And this is a big one, because a lot of times what holds people back is they want to be perfect. They want to have everything just right before they start something. But, in general, at least in this industry, it's better quantity trumps quality. It's better just to go out there and to start doing versus waiting and not doing anything. So that's what we'll be digging into. So number 1, embrace failure. Here we go. So failure isn't failure. That's kind of what we're talking about here. What do I mean by that? I mean, we have so many negative views of failure. We feel like if we have failed, then that's a black mark against us. That means we're not good enough. That means we shouldn't be in this, what we're doing. We should give up, so on and so forth. But that is not really what failure is. And so this is how people see failure right here. A lot of people see failure. They see it as one of two options. So you're in the middle, and in whatever you're working on, whatever you're pursuing, you can either fail or you can succeed. But that's not exactly reality. That's not accurate. Instead, think of it a lot more like this, that you have to go through failure to get to success. Failure is how you learn. Failure is the result of you pursuing a goal. So failure is not failure. Rather, failure is the sign that you're on the right path. So, you should celebrate failure. Now, you don't want to stay at failure. You don't want to pursue failure. You want to pursue success, but failure is the sign that you're on the right path. So you shouldn't, get discouraged when you're not achieving results.
Yeah, and this is really good, because I hate failure, and so learning this concept, I'm still having to implement it, but it was very refreshing and relieving to know that failure is okay and it is a part of the process. So that was just knowing that failure is the key, one of the keys to success, was very helpful.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very freeing reality. It's a very freeing knowledge that you don't have to fear failure, and you can feel free to fail. And, it reminds me of watching the Magic School Bus as a kid. And one of the things Mrs. Frizzle, the school teacher, would always say is take chances and make mistakes. And I always thought that was kind of silly as a kid. Like, why would you want to make mistakes? But no, it's actually, yeah, if you're not making mistakes, that means you're probably not trying. You're not trying to succeed. So how can you embrace failure? What are some ways of thinking about it or approaching it to help you embrace it? Well, you want to get to a neutral zone. And this reminds me of a quote from Lou Holtz, famous football coach. And I'm not sure if this is his original quote. This is where I heard it from. Was he said that things are never as bad as they seem, and things are never as good as they seem either. And so don't get too down from a no. If you get rejection, if you get failure, don't get too discouraged from that. And don't over celebrate a yes either. Don't feel like you need to coast now. You can coast. You can take a break because you got a yes. No, you want to get to a neutral place where you know what actions you have to take to achieve success, and you stay on that path no matter, adversity or success. That's what perseverance is. Perseverance is continuing on in pursuit of a goal, no matter adversity, which is what we normally think of, or success, which we normally don't associate with perseverance, continuing on despite success. But yeah, a lot of people, they get success and then they coast or they stop. So you want to get to that neutral place. And a way to do that is to not be emotionally invested in results. And I think this is where a lot of anxiety comes from. This is where a lot of my anxiety comes from, is being so emotionally tied to the results. And then when those results don't come, you get discouraged, you get negative, get down on yourself, you feel like giving up. And when you're in that state of mind, it's a lot harder to do the work. It's a lot harder to achieve success because you're so down and you're so negative. It really makes it an uphill battle. So do not be emotionally invested in the results. You want to disconnect and instead, see the results, let the results fall where they may, because you do not control the results. You can't control what the results are. So you should not be emotionally invested in that. Instead, you want to focus on right action. So that's something you can control. So you can't control what the outcomes are, but you can control what you do. So all you can do is continue to take the right actions. And maybe it will take longer than you think. I was recently read a book called the 10X Rule. And in that book, the author was saying that basically everything that people want to achieve, any big success stories or big results people want to achieve, it always takes 10 times more time and effort than you think. So, maybe you are in that place. Maybe you thought you would have more results than you have right now. But just realize, well, your expectations were the problem, not your results, or not where you're at. It's your expectations. You were thinking you would get results earlier than you have. So maybe just keep that 10x rule in mind, that it's going to just take more effort. So instead of, getting all depressed about your results, instead focus on taking the right actions. And, we've talked about that in previous webinars, different actions you can take. We talk about this a lot on our blog and on our Facebook page. And I'm sure there's other trainers out there that you follow. So you probably know what the right actions are. But there's probably a chance you're not taking them often enough. So that's what you want to focus on instead of results. All right, so now step 2 to overcoming the fear of rejection is to go for no. And this is a concept Haley and I recently learned at an event we were at. I guess that was just last week. We learned this from Andrea Waltz and Richard Fenton, and they are the people behind the Go for No principle. And so I'll explain that in a little bit, but first we're going to do a little illustration here, this is an illustration they did at the event we were at, so I thought it was really good, so we're incorporating it here in this webinar. So imagine a bag, and you don't have to because there's a picture right there, and in this bag there are 15 red balls and there are 5 green ones. And so now Katrina comes up and her goal is to reach into the bag and get a green ball. So her odds aren't pretty good, you can probably guess. So she reaches in and she gets a red ball and she gives up. And the application here is that I think this is how a lot of people approach not just business but life. They attempt something that's new and challenging, and the odds are they're going to fail because it's new and challenging. And but when they do fail, they give up. They don't try again because they got that red ball. But instead, if you go for no, that's because they're going for a yes. They're going to achieve a certain result. They're emotionally invested in the result. But instead, if they go for no, if their goal going into it is to achieve a no, is to get a red ball, is to make a mistake, then their odds are much better, as this example shows. So then Rose walks up to the bag and she reaches in, and her goal is to get all 15 red balls out before getting all 5 green balls. So Rose is going for no. So she gets 10 straight reds. So she's on track. She's doing great. But before, getting all the green balls, before she gets all the red balls out, she ends up getting all the green balls out with 3 red balls still to spare. And I think this is actually how it was, something like this when they did the presentation at the event. So that so both of the people that went up, they failed to achieve what they wanted to achieve. So Katrina didn't get the green ball she wanted, and Rose didn't get all the 15 red balls out. She got greens. So the greens are yeses. So this goes to show, if you go for no, then you're much more likely to keep going, because you're not going to be discouraged when you get rejected. You're going to see those as progress towards your result. You're actually getting closer to your result. And inevitably, you're going to get some yeses in there as well. And I think the really brilliant thing about this go for no principle is that if Rose did have a go for yes idea and she got that first green ball, she would have stopped because she got her green. She got her yes goal. She would have stopped. But since her goal was to go for no, she kept going and got more yeses in the process. So I think that's really key too for the go for no principle. So following from that, you want to set no goals. So these are a goal to have a certain number of failures or mistakes or people tell you no. And a great suggestion for a no goal is to get 20 people to tell you no a day. So if you're network marketing, get 20 people to say no to watch your presentation on your product or your opportunity, or maybe they've already watched your presentation and you're following up with them. Just get 20 people to tell you no a day, and if you do that every day, you're gonna get a lot of yeses over time. It's not comfortable, it's not easy, but when you take this go for no principle and you embrace failure, it really becomes a lot like a game. And Haley's actually been doing this recently herself.
Yeah, I'm starting out small, starting with 3 no's, because trying to talk to 20 people, if you've never started doing that before, can takes a lot of time. So I would definitely encourage start out small, so you don't get overwhelmed if you don't reach 20. I've only managed to reach 1 actually, but yeah, it has definitely become like a game. It's almost fun, and your business should be fun. If it's not fun, then something's wrong. So but yeah, it's I got my first no and I was actually really happy about it, but I mean there was still a twinge of, oh man, they said no. But at the same time, I was like, yay, I'm closer to reaching my goal. So yeah, it's definitely more enjoyable to have a no goal than to have a yes goal, because you're going to get more no's than you get yeses. So yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, right there, already Haley has turned around the fear of rejection and made it into a positive. So we definitely highly recommend you set some no goals. The other problem with yes goals, now you do want to have some yes goals, definitely, but you don't only want to have them. You don't want to have your goals be exclusively yes goals. And the problem with them is they don't focus on the behaviors needed to be successful. They just focus on the results. Think about it. So a yes goal, so maybe your goal, completely unrelated to network marketing, maybe it's to lose weight. So it's to achieve a certain weight by a certain time, but it says nothing about the behaviors that are needed to achieve that goal. And you think about all the people that set New Year's resolutions, but they never happen because they're more often than not, they're just dreams rather than goals. And the big difference there is intentionality. So those who set those resolutions, they have no intention to actually take the actions necessary to incorporate the behaviors needed to get those results and to achieve those goals. So, it's kind of like keeping your eye on the ball. If you've played sports before, baseball, hitting a baseball or, catching a football, you want to keep your eye on the ball, and then the rest will take care of itself. But if you take your eye off the ball and you think about where you're going next, then a lot of times you'll miss the ball. So that's kind of what these no goals are, is you're putting your head down and you're just focusing on the behaviors needed to achieve the results. And then when you do finally look up, you'll see that the results are there. Whereas if you focus on the results instead, a lot of times you can lose track of the actual behaviors and actions you need to take to achieve success. And results take time. And So when you're focusing on the results and you're not getting them, that can be very discouraging, and fear can take over, and you can start getting all kinds of doubts. And then you'll never put in the time to get the results if you're feeling all discouraged like that. So that's another reason to not be so emotionally invested in the results. And additionally, going for yes, especially when you're prospecting, that can make you seem desperate, because people will see that. They'll see how desperate you are trying to get them, to say yes. The focus is all on yourself versus how you can help that person, how you can help, how your product can help them, how your opportunity can help them. And another way to help that is to understand that they need you or your product more than you need them. That's because there's only one of you, but there's tons of people you can talk to. And so if the person you're talking to is someone who really could benefit from your product or your opportunity, rather than taking the approach that you desperately need them and coming across as desperate or salesy or pushy, because you want their sale or them to sign up so badly. Instead, approach it as you're helping them. They need you, and you don't want to take on a messiah complex and act like you care more about them than they care about themselves. But you don't want to have that attitude that you are really approaching them as someone who can help them, and they can take it or leave it because you don't need them, because you can find other people to talk to, especially if you're going out there and getting all those no's every day because you're no longer afraid of rejection. All right, so is that making sense so far? If you have any questions, just type those in the chat. So the third step is to understand that quantity trumps quality. So, there's a famous quote, and it's been attributed to a whole bunch of different people, but I don't think anyone really knows where it comes from. I heard it attributed to Napoleon Bonaparte, but other people have attributed it to Stalin and others. But the quote is that quantity has a quality all its own. And I think this is really relevant to network marketing and recruiting in network marketing specifically. And a good example that's unrelated to this, but kind of is a good illustration, is Shaquille O'Neal, who is a basketball player, or was a basketball player. And he was a really good basketball player, except he had a really bad free throw percentage. He's really bad at shooting free throws. He was like around 53%. And a good free throw shooter is around 85%. So a strategy teams would take on when playing against him was to foul him rather than letting him get an easy dunk, to get him to shoot from the free throw line, where he would most likely miss. He'd miss half his shots. But the problem was that he would get so many shots a game that it wouldn't really matter. And a statistic I recently heard, I'm not sure what the exact number is, but something like 70% of basketball teams, the team that takes the most free throw shots, it doesn't matter what their percentage is, doesn't matter how many they make, it's just the team that takes the most shots, takes the most free throw shots, is around 70% more likely to win the game. So that's an example of how quantity trumps quality. And I mean, you think about it, if Shaquille O'Neal shoots 20 shots a game at only 50%, he's only going to make 10 of those. But you take a good free throw shooter, and maybe he only gets 6 free throw shots a game, and he makes 5 of those. That's still only half as many points. So how does this apply to your business? Well, first of all, one way to approach it is, some people, when they're recruiting, they look for the people who I think are going to do the best. They'll look for, the highest quality people to try and join their team. And you do want to try to attract those, especially with your marketing. But when it comes to prospecting, you really just want to try and, prospect as many people as you can within reason. You don't want just anyone on your team, but you do want to try to get a high number of people, prospected. And, a big reason for this is that leaders are developed. People don't just come in as natural leaders in general. They need to be developed, and that comes through, training and support. But another, I think, important takeaway is that I'm trying to think how to phrase this. So people are often stumped by perfectionism. So people, when they're rather than going out and recruiting or doing the things they know that will build their business, they want to keep doing research, or they want to keep studying, or they feel they're not ready, so they want to keep trying to get perfect at whatever it is before putting it out there, or they want to get perfect at they'll get the complete script down, or have everything just right before they can go out and do a task that they know will help improve their business. But that is really harming your business, because all that time you're spent worrying about being perfect, you could be out there recruiting. So it's much better to go for quantity first. And on top of that, not only are you actually helping build your business, but it's going to develop quality. So quantity begets quality, because you're out there, you're doing it, you're practicing. And that's really a cool thing about cold market recruiting, is you're basically getting paid to practice. And so what this means is you're out there, you're prospecting people you don't know. So it's really, low stakes. It's no big deal if you mess up, because no big deal. Is it cold market is huge. You can just find some other people, and you're getting better as you go, and you're going to get some yeses. Just like that bag example, you're going to get a lot of no's, but you're going to get some yeses in there too. So you're basically getting paid to practice. So that's how you want to you want to keep that in mind, that embrace failure, go for no, and just get as much quantity as you can, and eventually you'll get better and achieve that quality. So quantity first, quality second. Don't. Oh, what was that? Were you gonna say something, Haley?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that not having to get everything perfect is freeing, because I tend to be more on the perfectionist side when it comes to like doing a job. So I'm constantly asking Reagan, is this the right thing to say, or what should I say, or how should I reply to this person? And as I'm like, I don't want to turn them off, and but at the same time, it's like, it's okay, because I'll learn with time. I'll learn from my mistakes, but it's still that fear of making a mistake, even though I know that mistake is going to teach me a valuable lesson. So knowing that I can be, imperfect, and that there are tons of people I can go talk to is very helpful.
Yeah, definitely. And to add on to that, always just err on the side of being a good person. And so, keep that in mind when you're approaching people and talking to people. Just be a good person, and think about what's best for them, what's best for the person you're talking to. And I think it's hard to go wrong from there. And don't give up on people either that you're talking to. 60% of customers will say no 4 times before they say yes. And this can be done the wrong way, where you're just pushy and you just keep asking and asking and asking, like a child at the grocery store or something, who is always asking their parent if they can get something, and the parent keeps saying no, but the child asks so many times, whines so many times, that finally the parent gives in just to shut them up. But that's not what you want to do. But you simply follow up. You ask them, hey, has anything changed, and would you be interested? And this is because you really believe that your product or your opportunity would be good for them. And that has to be true, because your product or your opportunity wouldn't necessarily be good for everyone. But if you do believe that you someone who's an ideal prospect, don't give up on them. For whatever reason, it might be not the right time for them. But if you keep following up, eventually they may say yes, and it will help them. But so many people don't do that, because they've already gotten that one rejection, and they're like, oh, I don't want to bother them again, or message them again, talk to them again, and get another rejection. But don't think of it that way. Think of it, again, that's self-focused. You want to think of them, and you don't want to give up on them. If you really believe that your product is life-changing, or your opportunity is life-changing, then why wouldn't you keep following up? And if you don't believe those things about your opportunity or your business, then maybe you should start there and really dive in and research and educate yourself and find out, and come to believe for yourself why those those things are so valuable and so important and so life-changing. And if you're not that passionate about your business or your product, then maybe you should find a different one. If your product changes lives, then don't give up on people. Be persistent. So let me know in the chat, what is one thing you have learned so far, or one thing you've been reminded of, or anything that didn't make sense, so we can improve as we go along here in the future. And let me know if this has been valuable. So I want to make sure we're giving you stuff that will help you and equip you to go out there and build your business. So let's recap. So failure is your friend. You don't want to shoot for failure, although you do when you set no goals, but the ultimate outcome is success. But failure is the sign that you're on the right path because you're doing something. And don't be emotionally invested in the results. Instead, just keep your head down and focus on taking the right actions, and eventually the results will come. And then set no goals. So set goals that involve, a certain number of failures or mistakes or people rejecting you. And remember that quantity trumps quality.
So Princess of the Messiah said that she learned to go for no and not worry about the outcome. So good for you.
Awesome. Yeah, that's huge. Now you are ready to recruit without fear of rejection. Is this true? Maybe you're still a little unsure. This might take some time to sink in. It might take some practice actually going out there and implementing these things. But I think if you do them, you will find that fear of rejection goes away. So now you just need to go out there and find the right people. So now what if I told you that there is a way to attract qualified prospects to you on social media? So this is a little different than prospecting. You actually, rather than going out there and approaching people, you actually have qualified people contacting you. And so when this happens, you're going to have a much lower chance of being rejected because they're actually coming to you saying they're interested. And what if I told you that I could give you the absolute best way to connect with people on Facebook, and that you could be shown the one thing that you should never do when prospecting on social media? And this is something that lots of network marketers trip over, and it makes them look desperate, incompetent, and outright annoying. And what if I could give you a free tool that anyone can use to immediately gain credibility? And what if I told you that you could get your hands on Facebook post creation secrets and learn 9 powerful ways to create super engaging posts and rally people around you? And that you could be shown how to stop wasting your precious time with deadbeat leads. Like, do you often get things like, just send me the information, and you never hear back from them? What if you could quickly reverse the situation and make them do the selling instead? This is really powerful. Well, the answer is you can. And you can with the Social Media Recruiter System by Julie Burke. So in this system, you will learn 10 ways to immediately stand out in your prospects' crowded newsfeed. So this is like prospecting on social media, but instead of prospecting, they're coming to you. This is passive marketing. And you can learn how to properly take the conversation then offline, which is really good for conversions. And then you can also learn the 12x6x2 rule for super effective branding. This is a really good way to really brand yourself and set yourself apart as an authority. And you'll learn how to become a master recruiter. So you can take your newfound boldness from this webinar and use that to go out and recruit like a master. And you can learn how to cut through the clutter and the noise with your own unique brand. And you can also learn 9 social media sins almost everyone commits and avoid those. And you'll learn how to expand your reach and zero in on the most likely to join people with paid Facebook ads. And you can also learn how to use your phone camera and rapidly tap into the hottest trend on Facebook right now, hint, Facebook Live. So all of this alone is worth $1,000, but that's crazy. Who would spend $1,000? Actually, I would. I have before. Anyway, but you don't have to pay $1,000, and you don't have to pay $500. This course actually normally sells for $97, but you can get it not for $97, but for $47 for being on this webinar. However, that is not all there is. You actually get a couple bonuses as well, and one of them is this 25 proven and highly engaging post ideas. So if you ever struggle to know what to post on social media, on Facebook, these are proven and powerful ways to gain attention and engage with prospects on Facebook so that they will actually reach out to you as well as share these with friends. So that's a bonus you get. It's a $47 value that you get for free. And the second Fast Start bonus are the $1 million scripts. These are 21 word for word recruiting scripts. It's a $67 value that you also get for free. And these are simple scripts that have been worth close to $1 million to Julie. And you'll never get stuck on how to bring up your business opportunity to a potential prospect. So if you ever struggle with knowing what to say when you're prospecting people, you're going out there, you're going to message people on social media, what do you say? These are some good scripts that can help you. And a final bonus is the Ignition Coaching Program, and this is pretty amazing. And this is a course that Tim Irway will coach you step by step on starting your own online marketing business, or if you've already started one, this will help you learn how you can take it to the next level. And what makes this Ignition Coaching Program so awesome is that 95% of people in business fail because of a lack of implementation. And this course is designed to solve that problem, and it solves it with 2 different parts, and these are pretty awesome. So one is a 4 step-by-step modules on how to build a profitable online business. And my favorite part, 3 one-on-one coaching calls with a marketing expert to help you take action and implement every step of the process. So this is incredible, and it's normally sells for $297, but you get it free with Social Media Recruiter. This is 3 one-on-one coaching calls, and I would say this alone is worth the $47. On top of all this, you get 100% no questions asked guarantee for 30 days. So you could get Social Media Recruiter, get the scripts, get the post ideas, learn, go through the entire course, implement it. And if you don't like it, after 30 days, you can get completely 100% guarantee, no questions asked, money back, get all $47 back if you don't like it after 30 days. So there's nothing to lose. And on top of that, you can also help fight hunger and poverty because a portion of the proceeds of Social Media Recruiter will go to Heifer International, which their goal is to help end hunger and poverty by providing relief and empowering struggling communities around the globe to become self-reliant. So that is pretty neat as well. So all this together, I would say this is a complete no-brainer. Does not require one of those. So I would say this is a must-get. The 3 coaching calls alone, I think, make it worth it. Again, if you don't agree, you can get your money back, no questions asked. And you'll also learn how to recruit passively on social media and fight hunger and poverty at the same time. So yeah, no brainer. And so if you want to get this, go ahead and click the link in the description below. It will look like this, what you see on screen, the bit.ly link. And finally, I guess we'll wrap it up with questions. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to type those in the chat right now.
I would just like to say that, I've been going through the Social Media Recruiter course. I'm not quite finished with it, but, you spend that $47 and you will reap the benefits of the value in that content for, however long you have your business up. I mean, if you implement those tools and the steps that they tell you, then you're going to be successful in your business, and that is worth it. So this is a course that continues giving you value long after you've made that payment. So it's all very valuable.
Yeah, definitely agree. I definitely say you should try it out, especially since this is the lowest price you'll be able to get it at on this webinar at the $47. Normally it's $97. And you'll get all those incredible bonuses, the coaching calls. So you really have nothing to lose. And if you don't like it, if you try it out and it's not all we said it was, just, you can get your refund within 30 days. All right. So are there any questions?
I don't currently see any.
Does everyone feel like they are completely over their fear of rejection? They're gonna go out there, they're gonna get no's, they're gonna embrace failure? I guess so, since no one has any questions. Everyone's pretty good. We're probably all out recruiting and prospecting right now.
Probably. You see, Paula says she bought it for $97. And she says it's a great deal.
Oh, awesome.
And Keith agrees.
Sweet. Well, if there are no questions, I guess we will wish everyone a good night, happy prospecting, and don't let the fear of rejection stop you from achieving success.
All right. Night, guys.
Good night.